Hello, people of the internet. Now, we're going to talk today about 90s cartoons. Because in the 90s, and I just realized this I was looking up some cartoon. I don't even remember what it was. I still have it open. Oh, yes, Pro Stars. I was looking up that, and it reminded me of all the pretty much weird as fuck cartoons we grew up in the 90s. I mean, I watched cartoons in the 90s as a kid, and I guess I didn't notice that these shows were just weird as shit. I mean, it's like SpongeBob, which is weird. Oh, and I think they go a tad further because they try to make the weird work instead of the weird just being weird. Now, for those who don't remember Pro Stars was a superhero show about athletes starring Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, and Bo Jackson. And for those who remember, Bo Jackson played both baseball and football. So they had the four major sports covered. And these guys would run around and fight crime, supervillains, whatever. Go run around and fight whatever using their sports powers, because they all had something to help them. I mean, and they had like a cue, and they had this, and they had that. I remember this show, and I remember watching this show. I remember liking this show. I bet if I watched it now, I wouldn't like it. I remember liking it. And now I'm looking back, I'm reading the synopsis, I'm reading about what's going on, and it is just weird as fucking shit. Well, these people, they had to be like dropping acid at the time. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to look this up. You can if you want. But yeah, it was a weird cartoon, and it was about athletes with superpowers. It was weird. So then I'm reading about it here on Wikipedia, and they mentioned Free Willy the cartoon. Now I remember watching Free Willy the cartoon as well. And what this was is there was a dolphin, Willy, and something else in a tank. And the boy from the movie could talk to them, and they could talk to him because he had psychic fish talking powers. He was the son of Aquaman, only he's the bastard son that he had with like a bad hooker who had venereal diseases. So the only Aquaman power he got was talking to fish, which would get very boring after a while. By the way, Aquaman has a lot more powers than talking to fish. I will save that for another video though. So yeah, there was that show where it's Free Willy and the boy can talk to the fish. Pro Sports, which was athlete superheroes. What else do we got? I've got a bunch here. Ace Ventura Pet Detective cartoon. Seeing a still of it, I know I watched it. I don't remember anything about it except it was kind of strange. But then Ace Ventura is kind of strange. So we got that one. We had Weird Al had his own cartoon where I think he's fighting crime or something. I don't know. It's just freaking weird. I mean, I like Weird Al. But I don't want to watch. But when he makes TV or movies or anything, it's weird. And that's why he's Weird Al. So for every like Spider-Man the animated series, Spider-Man or X-Men the animated series, we got one or two of these just really weird as fuck shows. And if you remember, back in the 90s, we had two Sonic shows of Sonic the Hedgehog on Saturday mornings. Both shows, Urkel from Family Matters, Jaleel White, did the voice of Sonic. I don't know, don't ask. One of them told us not to play in the dryer, which we must not have heard because we never played in the dryer, and if someone suggested it, we would have surely did it as children. My nephew does it, and no one ever told him. But anyways, we also had it as a cartoon in the 90s. We had two. I mean, these were fairly good, but they were on at like 6 in the morning. And that was the Iron Man cartoon and the Starship Troopers cartoon. Both were good, but because they're on at 6 in the morning, I rarely watched either of them. We also had the Dumb and Dumber cartoon, which I kind of, sort of remember it. And it was them just getting in like misadventures, like a half-hour version of the movie. And it was weird because the movie was fairly strange. We also had a Back to the Future cartoon, which didn't last very long, where Doc Brown's sons travel through time, and then Doc Brown has to travel through time because somehow they got the DeLorean back that was destroyed at the end of the third one. And they had a time-traveling train that was introduced at the end of the third one. It really wasn't starring Marty. It was Doc Brown and his family doing crazy misadventures. So yeah, these are some of the weird shit we watched as kids. And, I didn't even know what Happy Tree Friends were. So I couldn't have watched that. I had to look that up a week ago. I didn't even know what it was. But yeah, we got these. I mean, we had good cartoons in the late 80s, early 90s. But we had a lot of freaking weird shit. And then we started getting the weird shit on Nickelodeon, which was the weird shit to top all the weird shit. Literally, if they're doing acid in Hollywood, then Nickelodeon during this time must have went to Jupiter and found a new drug. A drug so strong, it would make normal people's heads explode. So then they gave it to Charlie Sheen because his head wouldn't explode. And he told him the ideas for shows, I'm thinking. Because I have no idea. Because the normal shows, it seemed like they're on drugs. And on Nickelodeon, they're on super drugs. Their drugs wore capes and fought crime. And that is when we got, like, Cat Dog. I hated that show. I thought it was stupid as fuck. We got Rocko's Modern Life, which I liked. But Rocko was really weird. And Rocko led to SpongeBob, and let's face facts, SpongeBob is weird just to be weird. So yeah, SpongeBob is weird just to be weird. Rocko was weird, but it was serious, kind of. I don't know. So for all of those who don't remember these shows, don't go look them up, because they're probably pretty bad. Oh, we also had a Tales from the Crypt cartoon we watched. Now, Tales from the Crypt, for those who don't know, was on HBO on Saturday nights at like 11:30. And that was because it was a horror show that was fairly violent and whatever. So they made it into a children's cartoon. They also made Toxic Avenger into a children's cartoon. Because you had 3 R-rated Toxic Avenger movies. None of which are appropriate for children. I have watched all 3 of them in like the last 2 years. None of which are appropriate for children. And it got made into a cartoon that was as weird as the movies weren't normal, but the cartoon wasn't normal at all. And that's how we got into the video game, which you want to review, go to the nerd. He reviewed it already. So yeah, for those who missed the early 90s cartoons, were too old or too young, you missed a lot of weird fucking cartoons. Or if you were overseas, you probably had your own weird cartoons. But yeah,